Hey, this is Scene Detail. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my predictions for Bellator 87, which happens on January 31st on Spike TV and Spike.com. Overall, pretty good card. We got the whole lightweight tournament opening round going on. I don't have to pronounce his name, but I'll say Guillaume DeLorenzi. He's supposed to fight Patricky Pitbull, but now he's going to fight Saad Awad. I really wanted to see that fight. The undercard, there's a couple prospects in here. Some guys are undefeated, like Cody Stamann, Carl Etherington, John Schultz, Jason Fisher's fighting there, same with Ben Lagman. It's not a bad undercard. But the main card, there's some pretty fun fights. Thiago Michel versus Alexander Tiger Sarnavskiy. It's a great fight if it stays standing. Rickels versus Woodard should be great as well. Dark horse to win it all, and Will Brooks is fighting. So it's a pretty good card, actually, for sure. So, let's get right to it. Okay, David Rickels, Caveman Rickels, fights Lloyd Cupcake Woodard. These guys are mirror images of each other. I mean, I think Woodard's more of a brawler, and he has some really underrated Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He did Kimura, Patricky Pitbull, and a really highlight reel Kimura. And 7 out of his 12 wins are by submission. He's also just a really tough and durable guy. David Rickels, same thing. Tough and durable guy. Same thing in that he's a really tough and durable guy. He has some good stand-up base. He has a base in Muay Thai, actually. But he also has some good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And really good off his back, actually. As a lot of his wins in Bellator were by triangle choke. Rickels also has a really good chin. One thing that does concern me, though, with Rickels is the weight cut. He didn't look overly impressive against Jason Fisher, and he didn't cut to the full 155. So I gotta wonder what the weight cut takes out of him. He wasn't even like a small welterweight, too, but he's making this cut now. So that is cause for concern here. But as far as the fight goes, yeah, it's really tough to say. You got two guys that are just really tough, durable guys. But if David Rickels is healthy and has a good weight cut, I'm gonna go with Rickels to win this one. I think he has a bit cleaner technique in the stand up. I think he can, if it hits the ground, he knows what to do down there. So yeah, I'll go with David Rickels to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, Saad Awad fights Guillaume DeLorenzi. DeLorenzi, one of his problems is his level of overall competition isn't that great. His one loss is to War Machine. He did beat Nordin Talib in, I think, his first pro MMA bout. He's coming off a 5-fight win streak, 10-1 record, 8 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by sub. He's 28 years old. He is a finisher. He's got some pretty heavy strikes. Good stand-up. He does leave his chin his head a bit high and his chin a bit open, so that is a bit concerning. Saad Awad, 12-4 record, 4 wins by KO TKO, 6 wins by sub. He's on a 4-fight win streak. He trains at Millennia MMA. Last time he lost was to Joe Duarte in Strikeforce, if I'm not mistaken. As far as Millennia MMA is concerned, where he trains, I mean, guys like Lorenz Larkin trains there as well. So this one's kind of tough to say. With Awad, I mean, he is originally supposed to fight on the prelims against Jason Fisher, so I don't think they were really, it doesn't seem like they were counting. He's kind of like the next best option, I guess. I think, and I'm gonna go with DeLorenzi to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, Will Brooks fights Ricardo Tirloni. This one's really hard for me to call. When you got one of those prospects versus a really experienced guy, it can go either way. The prospect could look great, or the prospect could lose. We saw a prospect, Alexander Sarnavskiy, fighting Rich Clemente. Experience beat, the young lion in this case. So, Ricardo Tirloni, though, he's not like an old guy or anything, and he doesn't have this obscene amount of fights. He's 15-3, 5 wins by KO or TKO, 8 wins by sub. He's 29 years old. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, if I'm not mistaken, really high level brown belt. I forgot. He has really high level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Good Muay Thai, but he does get a bit wild with it. With Will Brooks, he has an 8-0 undefeated record. 3 wins by KO or TKO, 4 wins by sub. He's 26. He has some pretty strong wrestling and just overall very athletic. I watched this fight against Satoru Kitioka, and he pretty much curb stomped the guy. One thing that was a bit worrying, though, is he was falling into bad positions with those leg locks. Tirloni does have a really good ground game. I don't know if Tirloni can get it there. I also feel that Tirloni beat Dave Jansen, to be honest. I don't think Jansen should have got the win. I think he was outstriking him on the feet. It's just at the end of the rounds he was getting taken down. It's also one of those cases if Brooks managed to take it down and be in top control, he might be able to thwart all of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the offense from Tirloni if he's on his back. So this one's really hard for me to call. I'm gonna go with Will Brooks. I think he's a dark horse prospect in this, and well, he might be favored to even win the thing. It's hard to say. But he definitely opened up some eyes, and he's a prospect that and there was some hype around him. But, his performances have been pretty good as of late. Tirloni, I think, is pretty much going to be just his toughest guy to date, opponent to date. So, yeah, it's really tough for me to call. Next fight's really tough for me to call, especially if it stays standing. That's Thiago Michel fights Alexander Tiger Sarnavskiy. Sarnavskiy has a 21-1 record. 6 wins are by KO or TKO, 11 wins are by sub. He's 24, trains at Rust Fighters. He's really good kickboxing, strong knees. He has a lot of submission victories actually, but when he fought Rich Clemente, he's getting his back taken all the time. Definitely needs some work there. Fortunately with Thiago, he's not much of a ground threat. 11-3 record, 10 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by decision. He has 2 losses by sub. His grappling is improving, but it's still the weakest part of his game. His Muay Thai is really strong. He's 28 years old. He managed to get a split decision over Brent Weidman. I think Weidman was winning the grappling, but in the stand-up, Thiago was doing pretty well. Who else did? I think he beat Nazare. Was it Nazare that he beat as well? He's fought some pretty good guys. I'm gonna go with Thiago Michel to win this one. Okay, on to the prelims. Jason Fisher fights Savak Magakian. Savak has a 12-3 record, 1 win by TKO, 9 wins by sub. He has a 5-fight win streak. He has some good judo actually and good grappling game. But so does Jason Fisher. Jason Fisher, 5-1 record. Only loss was to David Rickels, and I thought he looked pretty good in that fight. 2 wins by KO or TKO, 3 wins by sub. He is a finisher. Trains at MASH Fight Team. Another notable guy that trains out of there is Darren Cruikshank. Good stand-up, good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'll go with Jason Fisher to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, Ben Lagman fights Sam Quito. Quito has an 11-4 record. 1 of those wins are by TKO, 6 wins are by sub. Some pretty good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. His 2 2 of his 4 losses are by KO or TKO, and he's on a 2-fight win streak. With Lagman, he's a 6-2 record, 3 wins by KO or TKO, 3 wins by sub. He's 26, and all of his wins are by finish. I'll go with Ben Lagman to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, James Reese fights David Shepard. Okay, Shepard has a 5-2 record. All 5 wins are by submission, with 4 of them being by rear naked choke. So he does have some pretty good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he's 32 years old. With James Reese, 8-4 record, 3 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by sub. He's 32 years old and trains at American Top Team. I'll go with David Shepard to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, Justin Houghton fights Cody Stamann. Houghton, he's a 5-2 record. He trains at Grudge, but he is on a 2-fight losing streak. 3 of his wins are by KO or TKO. With Cody, 2-0 undefeated record. 1 of his wins is by TKO, 1 win by sub. Also trains at MASH Fight Team, and he's never been past the first round. I'll go with Cody Stamann to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, Carl Etherington fights Jason Fish. Etherington is 7-0 undefeated record. 3 wins are by KO or TKO. 4 wins are by sub. He is a finisher, and all of his wins are in the first round. So he's never been past the first round. With Jason Fish, 2-2 record, 1 win by TKO, 1 win by decision. Both his losses are by submission. I'll go with Carl Etherington to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, Amir Killa fights John Schultz. With Amir, 10-5 record, 3 wins by KO or TKO, 5 wins are by sub. He also has 2 losses by submission. With Schultz, 4-0 undefeated, 2 wins by KO or TKO, 2 wins by sub. So all of his wins are by finish. I'll go with John Schultz to win this one. And finally, Nick Kirk fights Tony Zelensky. With Zelensky, it's a 3-2 record. 1 of his wins are by TKO, 2 wins are by sub. So all of his wins are by finish. With Kirk, he has a 9-1 record, 1 win by TKO, 2 wins by sub. He's 30 years old on a 2-fight win streak. So I'll go with Nick Kirk to win this one. Okay, to recap on the main card, I got David Rickels beating Lloyd Woodard. I got Guillaume DeLorenzi beating Saad Awad. I got Will Brooks beating Ricardo Tirloni, and I think that one's close. Thiago Michel, and I also have Thiago Michel beating Alexander Sarnavskiy. Should be a really good stand-up battle there. Get on to the prelims. I got Jason Fisher beating Savak Magakian. I got Ben Lagman beating Sam Quito. David Shepard beating James Reese. Justin Houghton beating Cody Stamann. Carl Etherington beating Jason Fish. John Schultz beating Amir Killa. And Nick Kirk beating Tony Zelensky. So that's pretty much it for my predictions for Bellator 87. If you have any comments below, just leave them below. That's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.